We don't sparkle in the sunlight.
This is so new to me.
You've never seen a world like this before.
We did this?
Yes.
No way.
I love vampires.
No way.
We should hate each other.
I was like, oh my God.
Exciting, sexy,
You should see our group chats.
thrilling, dangerous.
There are a parade of people dying to be on the throne. The only thing separating this dominion from that fate is me.
So this show is the third iteration. First there were the books, then there was the movie, now there's the series. For both of you getting involved in this, and Sisi, we'll start with you. How did you prepare for this? Did you read all the books first? Did you watch the movie at all? Or did you come in fresh just based on the script?
So before and during filming, I watched the film an embarrassing amount of times, which I will not explain. But before that, I read the books when I was like a teenager. My sister was really into them and I stole hers and I read them all and I absolutely loved it. So when I got the audition for this character, I was like, no way. So I reread like the first few books and I watched the movie 7 times, maybe more. And yeah, it was just like super exciting because it's a character that I know and love.
And Daniela, what about you?
I actually hadn't even heard of the books before
How?
I did it. I literally, like, the audition came through and I was just like, oh, vampire. Oh, that's cool.
It's the
I was like,
Twilight era. Like,
I
how?
had no idea. I genuinely had no idea. And I was like, I did the audition and I guess, I don't know, maybe there was like something about me that reminded them of Lissa, but I didn't have any, I wasn't going by anything. It was just the scripts, which I thought were really well written.
Yeah.
And then once I realized it was actually a book, I was like, oh my God. And I bought the whole series and I finished like the first book in maybe a day or two. Like it was a really fast read because I was just so taken by all these characters and their love stories and this bond that Rose and Lissa had. And I just thought it was such an interesting story, which just made me like 10 times more excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
There's something strange happening.
We will survive because there is no other option.
Nice to meet the three of you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having us.
So these shows, vampire shows, are very popular, whether it's film, TV. The genre has been around for a long time. But they're oftentimes these days relegated to the Twilight crowd, where it's very romantic, it's very female-centric. What do you feel that Vampire Academy has to offer audiences that is different than everything else that's out there? And Andre, can start with you.
Yeah. Well, listen, look, if you like Twilight and you like our show, dope. Great. Keep watching it, But what I think we bring to the table as well is, again, we are set inside a vampire world. There's no hiding anything from the humans. There's no like lurking around. We get to explore our characters and throw you into this world right away that is already pre-established. Among that, we take the vampire mythology and lore and add so many different features to it. We have many subclasses of vampire within the show: Dom Pierce, Strigoi, Royal Moroi, non-Royal Moroi, and we have different elements of magic, elemental magic that people have, and the classism is also a huge thing within our show as well. I think the whole show in general is a very different take on what vampires can be and what the vampire genre can be, and I think people who like Twilight will like it. But I think also if you're looking for something new, this is something for you as well.
You said everything that was put like that. I think there's exactly what Andre said. Just to add to it, I think there's bits of everything for different audiences. I'll leave the best bit. I know Drew's got a favourite. I'm gonna briefly mention the fights. There is fights that are choreographed beautifully, that are challenging, and that are such pieces of art that I think it'll bring in a whole new audience. On top of that, you've got a political view, which is going to interest like a different kind of audience that are deep rooted in sort of societal issues that reflect modern issues. And then of course on top of that, you've got the real life beautiful and traumatic experience of love. It's got all these elements that I think bring in different audiences, and they will hopefully, different audiences of different shows will find what they love in their show and find something new, and the book fans will hopefully do the same.
I think the fighting is something very nuanced and new. I don't think you've seen it before in any vampire show or anything like that. a lot of shows in general, I don't think you've seen fight choreography like this. And then on top of that, I think, you know, these love stories are fascinating and not like classic vampire love triangle whatevers. You know, I think that this is very different and grounded and rooted in reality. And I think that we have a very real approach.
You must prepare Lissa for a new role as head of the Dragomir family.
And Rose?
She'll do her duty.
I'm the royal princess that needs protecting. Rose gives, and I take and take. I can be a leader who ruled not just for the lords, but for all citizens.
Whether you wear the crown or not, you have the power to change things.
Anytime you're dealing with vampires, it's craziness. Whether it's big screen, small screen, there's such a legacy for this genre. And I'll start, Giagas, with you. What do you feel sets this apart from all the other vampire stories that have been told before?
Definitely what sets this show apart from vampire stories told before is the world of this show. You've never seen a world like this before. We went all the way to Spain to shoot in centuries-old castles, monasteries, estates. You should see our house. It's beautiful. And wearing the costumes that were handcrafted, and, you know, very distinct from any other time period. The world of the show is so incredible. The props are modern, but, you know, the sets are old. So you've never seen a show like this, and that's what sets it apart.
Also, the fact that we are vampires that use elemental magic.
Yes.
It's so cool. We have, you know, a royal kingdom, like a system, you know, so there's the royals, the non-royals, the Dompiers, they all have their place. And yeah, I think that sets it apart too. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
You should see me in the crown.
There's something strange happening.
I think I can help you.
Christian is a non-starter for a lot of people.
I'll be discreet.
Of course, I want to put you first, but I can't.
You can either be guardian or friend, not both.
And you mentioned the bond between your characters. It's like the central relationship in the entire show, and it's very important for the two of you to have had chemistry. Did you get to know each other before really starting filming to kind of develop that, or how did you make that work? Because it shows up on screen very, very apparently.
That makes me so happy. I mean, I think that we had our chemistry read like on
over
Zoom.
Zoom. Interesting doing a chemistry read over Zoom because there's only so much that translates through a screen. But as soon as we got together, like it was definitely there. And like lots of our directors said, we ping, and so when we're on set and we're doing the scene, it's very naturally we're just sending the energy back to each other, I think. And yeah, we talked a bit. I mean, obviously I was in Australia and she was in LA. So we didn't have a lot of time to actually see each other in person, but we did like Instagram message and stuff before. So we kind of knew each other a little bit by the time we saw each other face to face.
So this, I've seen the first two episodes. This is a really different vampire show than we're typically used to. So for the three of you getting involved, and Anita-Joy, we can start with you. What was it like getting involved in this series? Were you a fan of the books? How did you get involved with this?
So I hadn't read the books or seen the movie, so I came to it with really unknowing eyes and fresh eyes, and it was amazing. And I got into it because I auditioned for it and they offered me the part. Oh my God. Can't believe it.
Can't believe it.
Can't believe it. The part. So that's how I got into it. But yeah, it's really beautiful to hear you say that it's a very different type of vampire show. Like I that's really exciting and really humbling for us to hear that. And hopefully when people come to see it, they will feel exactly the same and get involved in this sort of exciting, sexy, thrilling, dangerous world that we've created.
What's the game plan?
You know me? More of a roll with the punches kind of girl.
The ruler is not just any monarch. Leadership requires sacrifice for the greater good.
I need to fight. We need to fight.
They must be willing to give everything they have. We deserve a better future.
And Mia, what about you? What was your exposure to this series before getting involved?
I love vampires. Well, all my life I've been a vampire fan. I really wanted to be a vampire.
Stop
looking at me.
It's so cute. It is
I wanted to be a vampire. I really wanted to get bitten and become a vampire.
Sorry.
That didn't happen, but now I'm playing a vampire called Mia. So I'm like,
It's the same thing.
I've manifested
Right,
this.
you've manifested
Yeah,
it.
it is the same thing.
You've
So as
reached
far as
the
I'm
goal,
concerned,
you've
I am a
reached it.
vampire, okay? So yeah, I love vampires, love the show. Big fan of Judy Plec.
And Rhea, what was your experience getting on board this project and getting involved with this cast?
Yeah, very similar. I think I auditioned for everyone, like literally all the characters, and we all the way through. And Meredith was kind of like it was a bit of a last minute audition, and they were like, well, we've got this character, we're not sure, you know, like, do you want to give it a go? I had like 2 hours to do it, and luckily it worked out because I think she's exactly who I'd want to play. Yeah, and this whole cast, I mean, we're just the oddest bunch of people who adore the bones of each other.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how they've done it. Like, we should hate each other.
We are quite eclectic mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guardians are raised to be tough.
No matter how good you are, there's good enough and there's gone.
I want to protect my best friend from danger.
Good.
So both of you have a good amount of experience when it comes to telling vampire stories. And now we have one that is no longer on network television. Now we are on a streaming platform, which, very apparent early on in the first episode, opens up a lot more possibilities for language that you can use, things that you can show on screen. Is the freedom of moving to streaming, does that change the way that you tell these stories?
Beyond. People always ask me why, you know, what I would want to do if I got into streaming. And I said, you know, the freedom of language, for one, is so incredible. I layer my everyday language with a little salt and pepper.
A little pepper.
And to not have to come up with like the 75th different way to say a swear word with a PG rating or a G rating, which I've been doing for 15 years, was a thrill. But more than that, honestly, it's not being constrained by time. I can't tell you how many episodes that I feel like I have had to aesthetically compromise to get that last 30 seconds, that last minute out, story compromise, performance compromise, to hit a finite running time. And this, you get, if you want the episode to be 41 minutes, okay. If you want it to be 52 minutes, you can do that. You know, there's a lot more freedom to preserve the stuff that, you know, that beautiful shot or that little ancillary storyline that you wouldn't be able to do in a broadcast format.
And even more so for me, I noticed, because I always found that frustrating where you're like, oh, I have to get a minute out. What I'm going to take out is time for the audience to feel what they're feeling before they get on to the next thing. So to me, that expansiveness for just as the viewer will feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will survive because there is no other option.